go. We're going hunting. We're going hunting for wascally wabbits. That's right. The ZR2 Colorado production is about to kick in. I want to bring the latest news about that. And also, we got a bison. That's right. We got a bison hunt coming up because the ZR2 bison is dropping at the end of the month. And I'm kind of excited for that. You guys know I love mid-sized trucks. So this is going to be a good one. So let's get into this right now. I will put a link below if you guys want to play along at home and click the link and read their story. Happy to share it. So it says 2023 Chevy Colorado ZR2 production to start in mid-May. That's right. And that's pretty exciting. Now, we would have thought this truck would have, when they debuted the Colorado, and they showed, it's not like they didn't show the ZR2. You would have thought it had already been in production because that truck's been over in production for, I want to say, well over a month now. But you would have thought that we would, from day one, you would have seen this truck. But that's okay. I know a lot of people were anxious about this. They wanted that first edition that they're doing. And it's going to be a bad truck. We know it. It's going to be a badass little truck. And the one thing that keeps slowing me down from wanting to order one is that motor option. And, well, I know some of the first drives have already happened on this, so I will not be invited to that one. But I really think it's a good-looking truck. It's probably my favorite out of the midsize that I've seen so far as design and looks. Now, you guys know I've been a big Ranger Raptor fan, and I like horsepower. I want as much horsepower as possible in a truck, and I think the ZR2 is more of a pure off-roader, where the Ranger Raptor is more of a desert runner that can do, kind of like rock crawling if you needed it to. I think that the ZR2, though, ultimately is going to be a wicked truck that people are going to enjoy for years to come. Now, you only have to look at the previous generation to know Chevy doesn't play around with their ZR2 package. They go all at it. And, of course, once again, they kind of go from a different direction than I think that the Ford brand's doing. But let's get into this news article a little deeper here. And it says, as GM Authority previously reported back in September of 2022, production of the all-terrain 2023 Colorado ZR2 was originally scheduled to kick off April 10th. No longer appears to be the case as production has been delayed. Sources close to the matter tell GM Authority that the start of the regular production, SORP, for the 2023 ZR2 has been pushed back to mid-May. Now, there's probably some reasons for this. I'm sure, I know parts are still, it's not, we're slowly getting out of that pandemic part problem, but we do know that it's still hard to get labor. There's a lot of shortages for labor still. So I'm going to give it a little bit. I'm going to let it chill just a little bit. But the problem I'm starting to see, you start pushing this truck into mid-May, it's going to have a short cycle, for building. That's right. I mean, this pretty little truck right there, the life cycle of that thing's going to be what, till maybe September? Will GM do something like Ford did with the Broncos and push it all the way to December builds for 23s? I hope not, because that we're so accustomed now to 24s being in the fall. So I'm a little curious what they're going to do about this, but ultimately this thing is a beast. Look at the big beefy all-terrain tires on that thing. The rock sliders, I'm not a big fan of their rock sliders, though I will say they offer more protection than any other factory rock slider out there. I love the bumper of this thing. That bumper looks great. All the approach angles and all that. I would like it to see it more of a winch ready. I don't like their winch capable bumper as much as this one here. But ultimately, this thing is a good looking truck. And for me, the downside is the engine in this thing. But let's move on to this. It says, for customers waiting patiently for their new midsize truck, as the situation is expected to improve moving forward to June 23. Of course, it's worth noting that this may change based on part supply. In other news, the 24 ZR2 Bison is expected to make its official debut May 31st. And that's, I believe that has come out official. And the Bison is going to get some badass things. It's going to get a new range topping features like 35-inch, 315/70/17 Goodyear Duratrack tires, which I'm a big fan of the old Duratracks. Did cut some sidewalls in those, but I really liked, I think it was a great hybrid of a all-terrain mud terrain tire. And it's going to get the Multimatic DSSV dampers along with hydraulic bump stops and extra 2 inches of ground clearance. Well, that 2 inches of ground clearance is going to be, well worth it. Trust me. You're going to want to be, if you want a tall truck like this, you want the big tires, you're going to need the ground clearance, and you're going to go do some really cool rock crawling with this thing. Now, I'm curious if the take rate on the Bison. Now, You know, the ZR2 itself is a pretty wicked vehicle, though I do feel that GM should have came out with 35s in it. They didn't. At the end of the day, it's not a big deal to me. You can always, you know, if there's a saw, you can make it work. Though I'm not always a big fan of wanting to saw in my new vehicles like that. But ultimately, where are you guys at with this thing? Are you excited to see production of this thing? Do you have an order for one of these things? And is the 310 horsepower going to be enough to satisfy your needs when other brands are out there? We only know what Toyota's kind of doing with their hybrid system, their iForce engine. I honestly am expecting that thing to make 320, 325 horsepower with a little 4-cylinder. So does that put GM already behind and then they better kick it in? Or you're like, hey man, I don't need all the horsepowers. I like the badass look of this vehicle, and that's what sold me on it. So in the comments below, let me know what you think about this. Are you excited that production has started to kick in for these vehicles? And are you on the list to get one? So, you know the deal. Comments below, let me know. So whether it be 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, or these ZR2s, I'm damn sure going to drive. This has been your All Terrain Nation. I'm your host, David Boyd, and we're out. Peace, everybody. Love y'all.